Well, welcome to another edition of ZoeTV. We're so thrilled that you're joining us today, and we have a great show. As you can see, we don't have Steve Heller here. So my co-host this week is our campus chaplain, Stan Flores, and he is so willing to sit in and help out in any area on campus that I am so thrilled that he's here today. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Well, we had great guests today, and so I want to share with you that we're going to be interviewing Mim, as most all of you know her,
Awesome.
Miriam Rudd.
Beautiful.
And she's going to talk a little bit about community of faith, how COVID has affected community of faith on campus, some of the things that they've had to modify, and then also some things that are going to be coming up in October. So she will be explaining all of that to us. And then we have this wonderful resident that we dearly love, Ramona Yoder, on that we are going to interview and talk a little bit with her about how she has been able to maneuver during these last 4 to 5 months, and some of the things that she's been involved in, how she feels this has affected the campus, and really some personal things as far as how long she's lived here in Arizona. Gives us an opportunity.
She's beautiful, wonderful person.
Yes,
wonderful.
And gives us an opportunity to get to know her better.
Won the election, or what they call it? Is she the one that was appointed by the other resident?
Oh, she is our resident of inspiration.
That's what it is.
She's our resident of inspiration, but she is going to have a resident of inspiration of her own that she's going to be sharing with us.
Very good.
So sit back, relax, and stay tuned. Well, today we have a resident that we dearly love on the show, and we are so excited to be able to interview her and share some of the things that she has been doing on campus during this COVID time, and then also other things that she's interested in. She is herself a resident of inspiration to all of us, and she will be announcing her pick for resident of inspiration at the end of our interview. So welcome, Ramona Yoder. We're so thrilled that you have joined us today.
I didn't realize I was a resident of inspiration.
You are a resident of inspiration to all of us, absolutely. So tell us how long you've lived here at Glencroft.
It was a year in June.
That's right.
Wow.
You just had your 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
And how would you say that went? Even though 5 months of it is...
I would say the honeymoon is over.
That's a good way of putting it. I don't know how anybody could be on a honeymoon here during COVID. I felt so bad for, we had another resident that moved in April. And, you know, this is all, I mean, what she saw was, you know, eating in your rooms and you know, the whole lockdown thing. And I felt so sorry because I kept telling her over and over that this is just temporary, this is just temporary. And thankfully we got to open the dining rooms back up just so she could experience that. But it's tough.
Well, when everything got shut down, so to speak, it was like, and I'm looking back at one of the huge reasons I moved here was social activities.
Yes, exactly.
And it's a little ironic that that's now...
Right, yeah. I think that for everybody, you know, that the activities, the Zoe life, the, you know, all of that is a big reason why most people move to Glencroft, and we've all now got this whole new normal. So that's tough, it really is. But you have been so active, even in spite of that. You have stayed very active. You're down in the Performance Center. You're a walker too, aren't you? Yeah. And so you've participated in the Zoe Life program when it first started, correct?
Correct.
And you were in the beta testing. Were you in one of the beta testing groups?
Yes, I was in the third group.
Third group.
Yeah.
So you went through all of that, and tell me how you feel. I know the answer to this, but from being able to take part in that and then having it all shut down.
Did you know that she was a volunteer for the chaplaincy?
Yes.
She was actively involved every week over there at Providence Place.
Right.
Gathering people, handing out materials, singing. She sang. She did the Bible study over here once a week in Court 8, and she brought in the music. So all of this stuff, and that's why when she said I've only been here a year, I'm going, you know,
It's weird, yes.
everybody thinks you've been here
Yes.
forever because you were
It's
so
really
involved with
true.
everybody
Yeah.
that you made an impact. But then all of a sudden, like you said, it was taken away, and
So you really felt it.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned music. Music is my lifeline. I
you still got part of your piano in your apartment, right?
Well, I have a smaller piano than what I originally had, but I do have a piano in my apartment, and it's rare that I go without a day that I don't play something. I'm not singing necessarily, but I've come to really look at the power of the words in song.
Oh, beautiful.
And one of the first things I did when I retired was I played through every song in our church hymnal and read through
that's
every
amazing.
verse, and I journaled with the phrases that popped out at me.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my goodness.
And during a year. Powerful experience, very powerful.
How long did that take you?
Well, I purposefully set it up to do it within a year's time.
whole year,
That was
yeah.
my goal,
Oh.
to do that in a year.
So
And,
you had to do so many each
Yes.
day.
yeah.
So,
Oh my
so
goodness.
you being that social butterfly, because singing is a part of leading in congregational singing, playing in front of a lot of people. Like Millie said, is what happened when all of this stuff stopped automatically and you had to find different ways of going? How did you feel with when it hit and that was taken away?
Well, it was like, okay, now I spent a lot of time of reflecting by myself, and how do I, or what is the opportunity that's here for me to learn from?
Oh gosh.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's a powerful statement.
And really what came to me was, I mean, this is something for the whole world to look at in terms of what's really important to you.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm a relationship person,
Yes, you
and
are.
I love relationships. And when I look at the symbol of the cross as how to remember that our vertical relationship is the most important,
Beautiful.
and the horizontal ones, the horizontal relationships here are secondary. They're still vital,
Right.
but this one has to be in good shape in order for these to work out.
Wow.
And and I think if people allow themselves to go there, they would agree that this is a time to build relationships
Yes.
within families.
That's right.
And instead of looking at it as, I feel like there's so much fear that
Yes. That's been
that
created.
gets in the way,
Yes.
that gets in the way of love. And I just read something on Facebook this afternoon before I came here that I thought was very powerful. Make sure you test positive for faith.
Oh, wow.
Keep your distance from doubt and isolate yourself from fear.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Trust God through it all.
I love that.
Do you know?
Absolutely.
You know how many times I tried to get her on Chat, and she says, "Oh, I'm not going to go on Chat. I'm not going." And then she comes over
Why?
here and she's just sharing all this good stuff.
Oh my goodness. See? Now you have
I
to
got
do
you on
Snapchat.
anyways. Just kidding. Wow.
The other thing that I've done very intentionally is this whole thing with the Performance Center, which I call it a fitness center because I don't go there to perform.
Oh.
But
You could if you wanted to.
But I did a lot of walking paths in the morning early. I loved the less traffic, listen to the birds.
Yeah.
I would meet a few people along the way. It was wonderful, and I would do my 2 miles. And then when it got so hot,
Oh,
it was like, okay,
yes.
I'm gonna get dizzy going around in this
I know.
classroom. Well, then I decided this is going to be my prayer time.
Oh, wow.
And I can pray with my eyes open.
Oh, that is phenomenal.
And so my first lap around is like, okay, God, here I am. You bring to me, you bring to mind people that I need to pray for.
Oh my
So
goodness.
every lap, I'm,
Oh, that's just
and I
wonderful.
have I have one of those tally
The counter,
things.
yeah, the counter.
And I'm doing 74 laps a day, and whoever God brings to mind,
And do you,
because I worked
can you
in-
do this?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you reverse it? I know some
No.
people have reversed it.
No. Well, I could, I
Yeah.
guess. And I'm usually the only one in here
Yes, yeah.
when
That's
I'm
the
doing
nice
it.
thing about it is that
Yeah.
it accommodates people one at a time too.
And there's like one person beating you on that chart. Right? That's only one person so far.
I know.
Okay, you've almost made it to
Those
Vegas.
charts are impressive, Ramona.
But see, this is the first time, and I think I've said this before, this is the first time that I've been at a place where it's easy to come and exercise.
Yes.
I lived in Sun City, and there's
Yes.
all kind of rec centers there that you pay to go use,
Yes.
but I had to get in my car and go.
You know, I'll tell you, I
right.
think that for us, for all of us, staff, and of course, especially for Steve Heller, that not being able to have the Performance Center open for the period of time that we did, and, you know, the walking paths not being able to, really keeping everybody sheltered in place was literally the hardest part, because the need to get out and to be active and to keep moving, everything,
part of Lent
everything
cross.
that we have built for over
Yeah.
the last couple of years, all of a sudden, you know,
Right.
was shut down. So we pray that we don't ever have to go through that again. That's one of the reasons why I have said, be diligent about your mask, because
Yeah.
if we can keep the numbers
Yeah.
down really low and hopefully move, to the next phase, that will help everybody, I think, too. But how long have you lived in Arizona, Ramona?
47 years this month.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I didn't realize that.
Wow.
What part of town?
Well, I was kind of in mid-central
Oh,
Phoenix.
Central Phoenix? Oh.
Yeah, I moved around a little bit, but I think I've been in 7 or 8 different houses.
Well, and you had the same position for
Uh,
30
well,
some years.
35 years.
Yeah, 35 years. So, and tell everybody what that was.
I was office manager for the Department of Spiritual Care at Banner. What was Banner Good Samaritan when I worked there? Banner University Hospital.
Yes.
They changed the name
Yes,
after I moved. After I retired.
They've changed it a couple of times. I don't ever remember. I still say Good Sam.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
how old I am. Yes. So.
My favorite phrase is that I told clergy where to go for 35 years. In the nicest possible
Yes.
way. But we had a training program for chaplains, which brought new people into the office all the time.
Oh.
And it was just, I was an education major anyway. And it, Good Sam was an education hospital.
Yes.
CPE,
Always.
they were-
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But so many interns and residents, and I still now, I love going to Midwestern Dental and Eye Institute and work, let students figure me out.
Yes, it's true.
And,
Midwestern is one of our biggest partners, and they have really embraced Glencroft, and we absolutely love them. They have wonderful people. They're associate professors and
Yeah.
deans. They're just amazing. So that's interesting. I love hearing you say that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting down to the end. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask you, who is your resident of inspiration?
Helen Erb.
Helen Erb. Oh, Helen Erb, if you are watching, I'm going to be contacting you this week, and we're going to have you on the show next week to interview you. So congratulations. That's wonderful. We have a little gift for you. And we will
I have
talk
to
to
tell
you
you
soon.
why.
Oh, I'm going to ask her. We have to ask her why.
Well, I've known Helen since she and Keith moved here in the late 80s, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
And they just celebrated their 71st anniversary.
Oh my goodness.
And anybody who can live with one man for 71
years, you're
is
right.
very inspiring to me.
That's a compliment, I think. That is a compliment, right?
Yes. It is a compliment. I think that's one of the biggest compliments.
It is a compliment.
So,
And I just have a
71
lot.
That's awesome.
Oh.
That's
And I love her wit, her
she's a lovely lady.
Yeah, she's just
absolutely
and
wonderful.
she was my son's Sunday school teacher when he was 3 and 4 years
Oh,
old.
really?
Yeah, and he called her Grandma Helen
Oh,
because he
my
didn't have my stepmother lived away, and he only had one grandma here, so he wanted Grandma Helen.
Oh,
how precious.
that's wonderful.
How
well,
precious.
Helen, we will be talking to you next week. Congratulations. Ramona, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on the show
Thank you,
today.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Well, today we have a very special guest with us, and we're so excited to be able to interview her. Most of you know her as Mim. She and her husband, Bob, work in Community of Faith here on campus. And we thought that we'd have Mim on and talk a little bit about, number one, what's going on in the Community of Faith, if there are any announcements or anything that she can make, and then also talk a little bit about COVID and how they have maneuvered through COVID. So thank you for joining us today, Mim.
It's my pleasure, for sure.
So tell us a little bit about going through this process for the last 5 weeks with Community of Faith, and how everything changed in regards to what you all are doing and how you're doing it and that type of thing.
Well, as you know, Bob's job was to go and visit the hospitals
Yes.
and the nursing homes and the board and care homes. And because he cannot go on the facility,
Right.
he's had to find a new way. So he has made phone call after phone call. And then when he gets really bored, he'll ask somebody if he can help them with something. So he's gone grocery shopping. He's
Picks
gone
up
to pick up the mail,
medication.
take mail out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Takes
it's
up
just
medication.
Yeah.
I know that. Yeah.
In fact, there was a really sweet story. A lady wasn't able to get her meds, and they were brought in by mail, and somehow the doctor didn't get them placed correctly. So she ended up having to go to Walgreens, but she didn't have a way. And she said she was praying, and Bob called. So she said Bob was her angel that day, and he said, "You tell the pharmacy I'm coming to pick it up for you, and I'll be there." And you would have thought he gave her $1 million because she was so stressed by not being able to
Absolutely.
have her, her medicine.
I think this whole thing has put a lot of new stresses on everybody, and it creates a lot of anxiety. Your medication is one of the things that you need, on a regular basis, so you get nervous when, something goes wrong with that.
Absolutely.
But now, how have you been reaching out to the residents?
Well, I also do a lot of phone calling as well, and for those who are well, I sometimes just go to their door and knock, and we talk through the screen door.
Oh, that's great.
So that's been kind of fun to do. We have our regular services on Friday afternoons where we tape,
Yes.
and then I guess we show them Saturday night and again on Sunday.
Yes.
And so it's been interesting for me because I'm the one that bring people in to sing or play, and we had a quartet a week ago, and I tell you,
Fabulous.
we had so many people call and say, "Bring them back! That was so fun!"
fun.
So we had cornets and a bass and a trombone, and it's a family.
Yes.
And it was just an exciting time for the people to see some younger people on campus, and also to be able to sing.
Right.
And they said, we don't have to sing with our mask on at home. We can just sing.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if we sing on key either because no one can hear. So it's been fun.
The thing is, one of the things that I don't think that they see that you do, but it's so important, is you meet every week on Monday at 1 o'clock, and you have all these prayer requests all gathered together, and we pray for everyone individually on those prayer requests, and I mean, you carry them in the power of prayer.
That's right, we do. It's an exciting opportunity to be able to, again, reach people. And we'll tell people to put their prayer cards in the mailbox if we're not there.
Yeah.
And so we collect them all, and we pass them around so we don't know who we're getting.
Right.
And
And then
it's
do you
just been
think
exciting.
that has increased during this time? Or
Between the phone calls and the
Yes.
cards, I would imagine that, yes, it has increased. And sometimes we'll just stop. If someone's having a real difficult time, we'll just stop and gather the group together and pray for that individual.
And what I
it's just
heard also
wonderful.
from Bob is that when you guys were first making those calls, they were kind of like going, "What are you calling for? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?"
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? And because they would go one-on-one. They would visit. I mean, that was a part of that ministry, is visiting these people
Right.
one-on-one. So when they had to change to go to the phone calls, it was something brand new. But then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, we heard so many good things from the. Oh, I'm so glad you called.
again
It's like,
today,
yeah, why
yes.
didn't you call? When we missed your call. So they kind of grew into that, right?
Right. He tries to call community of faith people the first and third of the month, and then the second and fourth he calls everybody on campus. So it just gives people opportunity. The people he doesn't know, he'll go, "Hey, were you having a wild party last night? I got some complaints."
He's
And
so
they'll go,
funny.
"Who is
So
this?"
funny.
You know? So he said, if I can
I
get them
love
to
that.
laugh,
Yes.
and make them
That's
just kind of
right.
set aside what's going on in their own life that day, it's worth it. So
Well,
it's been fun.
we've asked a lot of people that we've had on the show, and others as well, how they have felt about remote church, and if they felt like they were in church. And I was expecting the opposite. I was because I will be very honest, I do not like this whole remote thing.
I know.
I am a people person. I love to hug people. I love to be interactive. And so I miss that. I miss that, being that fellowship and that type of thing. But everybody was saying how much they felt like it was church, and how they look forward to it on Sundays, and that they really feel like that has filled that void for them here on campus, which I am thrilled to hear. So
Well, and a lot of the folks haven't been able to go to their own church.
Yes.
And so this has been a really lovely way to do
Absolutely.
that. I know it's been hard for Joel.
Oh, it's huge.
Because he
Yeah.
said, you look out and see you four people out there, and Brian up above, I think he waves at Joel every once in a while. But, it's been a really wonderful opportunity, because Bob will sit over here and he
Yes.
will look in different places
Yes,
and make
which is
people
nice.
feel like he's actually talking
And
to
that
them.
that is that tool that, I mean, not only has the congregation had to adapt to different things
Right.
to happen, the staff.
that's
Yeah.
right.
For Joel, he's a
Yes.
professional preacher. He
Yes.
loves to talk. And when he's out there and there's no audience to get that feedback and to see them, it's been a challenge, but he's been doing it, and he's been doing it well.
And Bob sings solos every
Yeah.
song. He said, "Don't you dare pick a song above an E. I cannot hit anything higher than that."
Well,
So-
Stan has been singing a lot of solos too.
Yeah,
do.
that's great.
So now, how long have you and Bob been on campus with Community of Faith?
I've been on campus 7 years, and Bob, 5.
5. And then, what brought you to? Did you know Joel and?
No,
Oh.
we had interviewed for a job, and Cheryl Polovich called me on Saturday night and said, "We have no piano player for tomorrow. Would you come?"
Oh wow!
So I did that for about 3 months, and Joel and Sharon came in on the times too. And so about 3 months later, then they asked us if we'd be willing to do the ministry of Community of Faith, and so we came.
Yes, we love Community of Faith. So,
Absolutely.
what is on the horizon?
Well, we're hoping to start church.
How do we inch into this?
Yeah, really. Probably the beginning of October, if everything
Everything
turns
goes
out
okay,
right.
yes.
And again, it will be 6 feet apart,
Yes.
that type of thing. People will need to sing with their masks on unless the governor releases
Right.
that. We will have an opportunity to wipe down all the chairs and make sure that everything is safe. We'll have the cleaners at each of the doors so
Yes.
people can feel that. We have 2 guys making us offering boxes so people can put in their offering. And that's the other wonderful thing. Our people have been giving offering.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's just been wonderful. And they come in and they put it in the mailbox if we're not there.
Yes.
And last month was not so good, but already this month we're seeing a real difference. And that faithfulness.
I
is
know,
just
absolutely.
That's one of the
unbelievable.
things that I've been hearing, that the
Right.
churches are suffering because they're not gathering. But what we've seen here is the community of faith is
Yes.
they're faithful.
It really is.
We have wonderful residents too.
And I think part of that is the older generation understand tithing.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not just throwing in
That's
your
right.
offering. It's I tithe, and if I have had a really wonderful month and didn't
Exactly.
spend all money, then I'm going to give you a little bit more offering. So,
Right.
and you look at these people and you think, how can they give a $500 check? You know,
Right.
you're thinking they're living from paycheck to paycheck. And yet they say,
still
no, we
do.
give to the Lord first, and
Amen.
He always
That's
provides.
right. They believe.
And
Yeah.
it's
That's
just
exactly right.
amazing. you
It
know.
is amazing, but it's being faithful.
It
too.
is.
Yeah.
Can
And
I
I
ask one
think-
question?
Of course.
One of the hard things that I see is because Bob and Nick were also, they just loved that contact with the people, but now they can't do it with the hospital visits. And how is that? I mean, that must be horrible where they can't go and see the people who go to the hospital or even call them to come and see them.
Well, Bob tries to get phone numbers, cell phone numbers. He's talked to Nancy almost every day, well, he has every day this week to see how she's doing in the hospital. So we try to find out from the family if there's a number that we can call.
Right.
It is hard.
It is hard.
You know,
Well,
Bob
if-
goes home and he says, I don't know if I'm making a difference or not. And then somebody will say
Oh,
something that
yes.
just boosts your spirit.
Just
And I know
reaching
Joel was
out.
suffering with that, speaking, you know, wondering if anybody was hearing. And he had a beautiful phone call last week and said, your message was exactly what I needed to hear.
Amen.
We're talking about Joseph, you
Yes.
know, and what his brothers did to him and how he ended up having the brothers all bow
Right.
down to him. So it's been an interesting series.
Have you been able to start your prayer group? Your
No.
women's group? No.
No, we haven't done women's because we would have done it down here.
Right.
They're very nervous about coming and talking in small group. Many of them have more than worry about COVID because they may have had breast cancer or they may
Right.
have COPD.
Yes.
I mean, there's other things
Yes.
that they have to worry about, and their doctors have said, you know,
Stay away from any
stay
groups.
away. Yeah, you're at that age where it's not really a
Right.
good thing. But we just hope that we can get it started in October.
Absolutely.
We were thinking about doing hymns sing this month. It was September, starting September. We thought that's going to be hard with masks on. You get really hot.
Right.
So
Yes. Yeah.
we'll see.
And
Maybe
remember,
they'll
aren't they
open
talking
up.
about 2 services, or at least having the regular service and then when they do the taping, have it also recorded
Also,
so that they
yes.
can, with the limited amount of people
all
coming
of them
in?
are going to be doing that.
Yeah.
Because
It's-
right now the executive order says 50 groups
Yeah.
of 50, and that's the max. So
And I don't know that we'll have 50 come the first month. I
Maybe
think,
not,
you know, we'll
yes.
just see how it goes. And, you know, those people will maybe share it with others and
Yes.
say, you know, I felt really safe and it was so wonderful.
Yes.
But I'm like you, and I know everybody there expects me to give them a hug.
I know.
So I might come in the Michelin tire man and just give everybody a
I
hug
would
anyway.
do that in a heartbeat too. I'm
funny.
serious.
That's good.
You know, I'll tell you the thing that is the most important going through this that I have found is being flexible and being patient and have, you know, really relying upon your faith, because this is
What we do.
this is an ordeal for everybody. You know, there isn't anybody that hasn't been affected in one way or another by all of this. But Mem, thank you so much
Oh,
for
it's been my
everything you
pleasure.
do,
Such
and
a
thank
blessing.
you for joining us today and sharing your insights with us. We love you guys, and we're so supportive of you.
Well, we're all one big family, are we not?
That's right.
That's
That's
true.
right. That's right.
Thank you. That was a great show. Didn't you just love it?
It's wonderful. Absolutely
it's
wonderful.
so much fun to be able to talk to, number one, Mim. She shared such great insight with us as far as the things that she and her husband Bob and you know,
totally.
Sharon and Joel have been doing in Community of Faith, Nick Rizzo, all of them are so dedicated and faithful, and they have been calling many of you during this time, still giving that wonderful sermon on Sunday remotely. And she did share with us a little bit that it looks like maybe we're going to be able to kind of inch our way back into services in October. So say your prayers, because that will actually be a really nice time to be able to get back and see each other even at a distance and spend that time together. So
what I loved was her heart.
Yes.
I mean, these weren't pre-asked questions or pre-prepared questions.
Yes.
You just asked these questions and her heart was just there.
yes, we
reflective.
keep it so conversational
Oh, it's
and just
beautiful.
talking
gorgeous.
to him. And then we talked to Ramona Yoder.
Another beautiful.
And Ramona she is definitely a resident of inspiration to all of us.
Totally.
She's so involved in everything, and I didn't realize until you were asking her that she was so
Faithfully.
involved
Faithfully.
over at Providence Place. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, that's
for us.
when you asked that question, how was it taken away? I
Yes.
said, man, I saw her. She was there
Yes.
every week.
Yeah, boots on the ground. She has been in so many different things. And we were very excited to hear that her Resident of Inspiration nominee was Helen Erb.
I love the story. Love the story.
So excited. This was a great show. We've got some good tips for you too. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.